I've lived in this town my whole life, and I've seen all sorts of characters come and go. But nobody, and I mean nobody, was quite like Leo. When he first rolled into town, he was all smiles and charm. He had this way of making you feel like you were the most important person in the world. He opened a small investment firm on Main Street, promising returns that sounded almost too good to be true. And for a while, they were. I remember my neighbor, Mrs. Gable, a sweet old lady who lived off her late husband's pension. Leo convinced her to invest her entire life savings. He showed her fancy charts and graphs talking about guaranteed growth and risk-free opportunities. He even brought her flowers once. She trusted him completely. She wasn't the only one. He got the local bakery owner, the high school's football coach, even the young couple who had just bought their first home. He was a master at selling a dream. From my shop across the street, I watched him work his magic. He drove a flashy car, wore expensive suits, and always picked up the tab at the local diner. People saw him as a success story, a sign that our small town was finally hitting the big time. I admit, I was skeptical. Something about his eyes didn't match his smile. It was a little too sharp, a little too hungry. I saw him once, late at night, shredding documents in his office. When he saw me looking, he just gave me a big wave and a grin. The next day, he offered to cut me in on a special deal. I politely declined. Then there was the charity drive. Leo organized a huge fundraiser for a new community center. He got everyone involved. Kids sold cookies, families donated, and local businesses sponsored the event. It was the biggest thing to happen here in years. Leo stood on stage, a picture of generosity, thanking everyone for their support. He raised a staggering amount of money. But months passed, and the plot of land for the new center remained empty. When people started asking questions, Leo would just smile and say there were unforeseen delays with the permits. He didn't just deal in big money. His schemes were everywhere. I saw him sell a used car to a young college kid, claiming it had a brand new engine when I knew for a fact it was the same old clunker he bought for scrap a week earlier. The poor kid's car broke down not even 50 miles out of town. Leo just shrugged and said, "All sales are final." He even conned the farmer's market. He'd buy produce from the supermarket, repackage it in rustic-looking baskets, and sell it as organic farm-to-table goods at a massive markup. The whispers started slowly. A few people who tried to pull their investments out were given the runaround. Excuses piled up. The market was down, there were processing errors, paperwork was lost. Leo's charm started to wear thin. His smile became more of a grimace. He stopped coming to the diner, and the flashy car was seen less and less. The beginning of the end came with the storm. Not a metaphorical one, a real one. Hurricane Ida. It tore through our town, flooding homes and businesses. My shop was spared, but many weren't so lucky. Mrs. Gable's house was devastated. She went to Leo desperate, needing the money she'd invested to rebuild her life. That's when the truth finally came out. Leo's office was locked. The lights were off. He was gone. The money? All of it. Gone. Mrs. Gable's life savings, the bakery owner's expansion fund, the coach's retirement, the young couple's down payment, the community center fund all vanished. It was a gut punch to the entire town. People were heartbroken, angry, and felt so foolish. The man they had hailed as a hero was nothing but a thief. For a while, it seemed like he had gotten away with it. We heard rumors he was living it up in some tropical paradise. The anger in town slowly turned to a quiet, bitter resignation. Life had to go on. We held bake sales and car washes, real ones this time, to help Mrs. Gable and the others get back on their feet. The community, wounded as it was, pulled together. Then, about a year later, I saw a news report. It was a small story, easy to miss. A man had been arrested in a small coastal town in Florida, running a nearly identical investment scam. The picture they showed was him, Leo, but he looked different. The expensive suit was gone, replaced by a cheap, wrinkled shirt. The confident smile was replaced by a look of sheer panic. He looked tired, older, and defeated. The story unfolded. After leaving our town, he tried to pull the same con elsewhere. But this time, he wasn't so lucky. His flashy lifestyle had attracted the wrong kind of attention, not from the law, but from some very dangerous people he'd also tried to cheat. They didn't file a police report. They took everything he had, leaving him with nothing. The arrest for his financial crimes was almost an afterthought. The last I heard, he was sentenced to a long time in prison, not for the millions he stole, but for a series of smaller, clumsier frauds he committed out of desperation after he'd lost everything. It was ironic. The master manipulator, the man who cheated an entire town, ended up being outplayed and left with absolutely nothing. He didn't just lose the money, he lost his freedom, his name, everything. Looking back, it's a harsh lesson. Leo's story is a reminder that the world has a funny way of balancing the books. You can build a life on lies, but you're building it on sand. Sooner or later, the tide comes in. It took a while, but karma came for Leo, and when it did, it took everything. Our town is still healing, but we're stronger for it. We learned to trust in each other again, not in flashy promises. Thanks for listening to my story. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.